I didn't even notice the warning email at first. My eyes skimmed the subject line, a red flag screaming at me, and I closed the laptop. I'd seen too many of those emails lately. Honestly, I didn't have the mental space to read it. The day had already swallowed me whole. Rosalie's fever had spiked again. The school called twice, and the bills on the kitchen table stared at me like an accusing jury. I thought, maybe tomorrow. Maybe I could deal with it all tomorrow. But tomorrow arrived with a sharp knock on the door that made me jump like a cork in a stormy sea. I opened it, and there she was, Harper Velasquez, my boss. Her eyes were blazing, her arm lifted, and when she finally spoke, the words hit harder than I could have imagined. You're fired. It felt like the world had tilted on its axis, like I was standing in the middle of a tornado and hadn't noticed the wind until it tore everything away. I froze. My palms were sweaty, my chest tight. Behind me, Rosalie coughed, tiny and fragile, unaware of how completely my life had shifted in the span of a few words. I never planned to be a single dad. At 33, I imagined a house filled with routine, laughter, and two parents tackling life together. But fate had other plans. Amamira, Rosalie's mother, passed unexpectedly 3 years ago. One sudden heart condition, and my world had been rewritten in ways I couldn't imagine. Ways I'm still trying to make sense of. Since then, I had learned everything the hard way. Late-night feedings, daycare conflicts, sleepless nights, emails that demanded more than my tired mind could give. Most days, I washed dishes at midnight, answered emails half asleep, and woke before sunrise to make lunches and remind myself to breathe. I had become a master of appearances, juggling invisible balls and convincing everyone, including myself, that I was handling life. But appearances are treacherous. They hide the cracks that eventually swallow you whole. Harper wasn't cruel. She wasn't that kind of person. She ran her team with precision deadlines and a sharp sense of urgency. She had tried patience, she had sent reminders, hints, schedule rearrangements, and one-on-one check-ins, but I couldn't bring myself to admit the truth. I was at work, not really, but at life. Raising Rosalie alone, facing bills, sick days, and sleepless nights. I was terrified that admitting I needed help would make me weak, and so I buried the truth deeper, pushing myself harder, until the day the truth knocked at my door. It was a humid Saturday afternoon, the kind where the air sticks to your skin and makes every movement feel heavier than it should. Rosalie's forehead burned with fever, and I held a cool cloth to her skin, trying to erase the illness with nothing more than my own exhaustion and love. I was wearing the same shirt from yesterday. The apartment smelled faintly of cough syrup and reheated pasta, and I felt every ounce of weariness pressing into my bones. Then the knock. I thought it was a neighbor at first. I always hoped for small kindnesses in the world. But when I opened the door, daylight poured through, revealing Harper in a bright red dress. Her expression was a mix of frustration and something softer, something tangled beneath the surface. "You're done," she said, no malice in her voice, just disappointment, pressure, frustration at a situation neither of us had chosen. My chest sank. I wanted to argue, to explain, to defend myself, but the words wouldn't come. I could feel Rosalie behind me, coughing, her tiny presence amplifying the weight of responsibility pressing down on me. Guilt settled like a stone in my chest. I wanted to blame Harper, life, fate, but I knew better. This moment hadn't come out of nowhere. It had been building, quietly. Like a storm gathering behind clouds I had refused to see. After Harper left, I sank to the floor beside Rosalie's bed, her small hand brushing mine in a weak, loving gesture. I stared at the ceiling, imagining the bills, the rent, the groceries, the medications I couldn't afford. Numbers swirled in my head like a relentless nightmare. I had faced grief before, but this was different. This wasn't a loss I could compartmentalize. It was everything. My stability, my pride, my ability to keep promises I had made to the one person who depended on me, absolutely. Rosalie eventually drifted to sleep, and I remained awake, tracing shadows on the ceiling. It hit me then, like a cold revelation. I didn't just need a job. I needed a different version of myself. One who didn't run from help. One who didn't hide pain under silence. One who could face life honestly without fearing judgment or failure. The next days were blurred. I searched tirelessly for temporary work, sending resumes, making calls, doing odd online jobs for minimal pay. Rosalie recovered slowly, her laughter returning like the first rays of sunlight after a long, relentless night. She drew a picture of us holding hands in a park under the sun and taped it to the refrigerator. No deadlines, no stress, no looming fears, just the warmth of father and daughter together. It sparked something fragile but vital inside me. Hope. I decided then to fight back, not with bitterness, but with honesty. A week later, I walked into Harper's office, my stomach twisted with anxiety. I wasn't there to beg for my job back. I was there to tell the truth. I told her everything I had, hidden. Hospital visits, sleepless nights, loneliness, and how admitting weakness felt like admitting failure. She listened, leaning back in her chair, eyes softening as she absorbed my words. I wish you had told me sooner, she admitted. I'm not built only to give orders. I can give compassion if people trust me with the real parts of their lives. She didn't rehire me that day, but she gave me something I hadn't expected. Contacts, freelance recommendations, and a lifeline to rebuild. She reminded me that talent and heart exists, even in chaos. Within a month, I secured part-time work from home, a schedule that finally fit around Rosalie instead of crushing us both. Her laughter grew, her energy returned, and I discovered small joys. Morning walks, cooking together, letting sunlight spill through open curtains, and not flinching when the doorbell rang. Then Harper emailed me. She asked if I'd consult on a major campaign, not as an employee, but as a collaborator. She apologized, admitting she had her pressures too, and that both of us had been hiding behind silent struggles, pretending strength meant ignoring help. I agreed, cautiously at first, and gradually a mutual respect emerged where frustration had lived before. The brightest days came quietly. Rosalie at the kitchen table, drawing hearts, sunlight spilling across the floor. Me, working on a slide deck, sipping coffee without the looming anxiety of impossible deadlines. Life wasn't perfect, but it was livable, breathable, full of gratitude rather than fear. Losing my job had been the cruelest blessing, forcing me to face truths I'd ignored for too long. Harper eventually became a friend, someone I could trust. Rosalie thrived, her laughter echoing through the apartment. My work with the nonprofit and freelance consulting became steady, structured, meaningful, and I discovered something simple and profound. Losing what I thought I needed was the only way to find what my heart had been yearning for all along. Sometimes, it takes hitting rock bottom to realize the ground beneath you can be rebuilt stronger, brighter, and with more love than you ever imagined.